Halfway between West Egg and New York, the motor road hastily joins the railroad and runs beside it for a quarter of a mile, so as to shrink away from a certain desolate area of land. This is the Valley of Ashes, a fantastic farm where ashes grow like wheat into ridges and hills and grotesque gardens where ashes take the form of houses and chimneys and rising smoke. And finally, with a transcendent effort of men who move dimly and already crumbling through the powdery air. Passengers on waiting trains can stare at the dismal scene for as long as half an hour. There is always a halt there of at least a minute, and it was because of this that I first met Tom Buchanan's mistress. I went up to New York with Tom on the train one afternoon, and when we stopped by the ash heaps, he jumped to his feet and, taking hold of my elbow, literally forced me from the car. I think he'd tanked up a good deal at Luncheon, and his determination to have my company bordered on violence. Tom Buchanan and his girl and I went up together to New York. Or not quite together, for Miss Wilson sat discreetly in another car. Tom deferred that much to the sensibilities of those East Eggers who might be on the train. In the solemn, echoing drive, she let 4 taxicabs drive away before she selected a new one, lavender-colored with gray upholstery, and in this we slid out from the mass of the station into the glowing sunshine. The apartment was on the top floor, a small living room, a small dining room, a small bedroom, and a bath. The living room was crowded to the doors with a set of tapestried furniture entirely too large for it, so that to move about was to stumble continually over scenes of ladies swinging in the gardens of Versailles. Miss Wilson had changed her costume some time before and was now attired in an elaborate afternoon dress of cream-colored chiffon, which gave out a continual rustle as she swept about the room. With the influence of the dress, her personality had also undergone a change. The intense vitality that had been so remarkable in the garage had been converted into impressive hauteur. Her laughter, her gestures, her assertions became more violently affected moment by moment, and as the expanded room grew smaller around her until she seemed to be revolving on a noisy, creaking pivot through the smoky air. "I like your dress," remarked Mrs. McKee. "I think it's adorable." Miss Wilson rejected the compliment by raising her eyebrow in disdain. "It's just a crazy old thing," she said. "I just slip it on sometimes when I don't care what I look like." She looked at me and laughed pointlessly. Then she flounced over to the dog, kissed it with ecstasy, and swept into the kitchen, implying that a dozen chefs awaited her orders there. Catherine leaned close to me and whispered in my ear, "Neither of them can stand the person they're married to. Why go on living with them if they can't stand them? If I was them, I'd get a divorce and get married to each other right away. It's really his wife that's keeping them apart. She's a Catholic, and they don't believe in divorce." Daisy was not a Catholic, and I was a little shocked at the elaborateness of the lie. Sometime toward midnight, Tom Buchanan and Miss Wilson stood face to face discussing in impassioned voices whether Miss Wilson had any right to mention Daisy's name. "Daisy, Daisy, Daisy!" shouted Miss Wilson. "I'll say it whenever I want to. Daisy, Making a short, deft movement, Tom Buchanan broke her nose with his open hand. I couldn't forgive him or like him, but I saw that what he had done was, to him, entirely justified. It was all very careless and confused. They were careless people, Tom and Daisy. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that was keeping them together, and let other people clean up the mess they had made.